name is Brand Tran. This is my book report on The Awakening by Kate Chopin. Before we begin talking about the book itself, we need to know some background knowledge on the author Kate Chopin. Born in St. Louis, Kate Chopin married her husband at the age of 20. And over the course of those 8 years she was married to her husband, she had 6 children. But during her time married, she had an affair, unbeknownst to her husband and her family. When she was 30, her husband died, leaving her to run the cotton farm. But she was so sad about his death that she moved back with her mother. There, she found her passion for writing and began writing her book, The Awakening, which she published in 1899. She died at the age of 52 after visiting the World Fair. The genre of The Awakening is definitely a Bildungsroman because over the course of the story, our main character experiences transformations and evolutions that make her grow up for the better or for the worse. Here's the cover of The Awakening by Kate Chopin. I didn't have a physical copy to read it, but because the book is so old and widespread, if you just search for it, you can probably find a PDF or an online source to read Kate Chopin, The Awakening. I found my version right here, as you can see. The Awakening takes place in the late 1800s in New Orleans. New Orleans society, there were clear gender roles where the man of the household bring bread home, while the woman took care of all the household affairs. Women were trained from birth the standard of being a married woman. They were supposed to be dutiful wives and mothers. In particular, of great significance in the novel is Granite Isles, which was a resort off the coast of Louisiana, where the Creole culture thrived. Because Miss Edna Pontier, our main character, married into the Creole culture, she was unused to this new way of living that was vastly different from the normal American society. Most of the book takes place at the Granite Isles, so it's important to take note of that although American society at this point in time was really restrictive about gender roles, the Creole culture, inheriting their Spanish and French heritage, was even more strict. Divorce or any assertion of the notion of what the male and female roles assigned were unheard of. And it is in this Creole culture that Edna Pontier experiences her multiple awakenings. Our protagonist, Edna Pontier, is a well-to-do married woman with 2 children. Her husband is a businessman who treats her like property. One summer, when the family goes to the Granite Isles, a resort off the coast of Louisiana, she begins to have realizations that her role as a mother, a wife, even a human being is insignificant to the universe around her as a whole. She becomes more and more aware that there's this oppression from society forcing her to conform against her own will. It's through a series of small events, that Edna Pontier has multiple awakenings or realizations that she live up to society's expectations for herself. She can do whatever she wants. She can be an independent woman. And alongside that, meets a man called Robert Lebrun, Another thing you need to note is that because this is in New Orleans, most of the names, for example, Edna Pontier or Robert Lebrun or Mademoiselle Ragnol, they're all French names. So yeah. Anyways, with Robert Lebrun, she meets him and she starts to have thoughts that aren't marital thoughts. She wants to start a relationship with him, but she can't because she's married. Throughout the book, she goes through a journey of self-realization and soul-searching, bring out her interest in the more sexual side of a relationship, and this all eventually leads to her rejecting her former life as a housewife and a mother. An important theme to talk about in The Awakening is the theme of women's rights and their gender roles in society. Edna Pontier wanted to own person. She didn't want to be a property or extension of her husband as she previously was. And she does this by using her own money to buy her own house, or going out to horse races to meet new people, or talking with the men that aren't her husband. This shows that these independent actions show that she is a living person, that she's not just a tag along. Another theme is the cost of freedom. Through all the actions of Edna Pontier, not conforming to the gender roles that society placed on females, even though she's given more freedom, society shuns her. They want to associate with someone that doesn't like them. So they leave her alone. As one of the other side characters in the book mentions, that it makes a metaphor about a bird. To be able to have freedom, you must have strong wings. And that relates to this because Edna Pontier must be strong enough to flow against the currents of society that shun anyone that doesn't conform to their way of living. What did I like about the book? I liked how it showed how Edna Pontier wasn't this far end of the spectrum, strong-willed, independent, free woman, or she wasn't this docile, servile person. She was trying to balance both those combinations. What didn't I like? I didn't like how she was the ending. I didn't like the ending because I believe that Edna Pontier was a strong person, someone that could have endured this storm onslaught that her decisions brought her. Who do you think I would enjoy this book? I think young women, young men, anyone that's currently that's probably going through awakening with themselves would enjoy this book. Someone that's experienced change in their life would enjoy this book. Who would not enjoy this book? I would say people who don't like change or don't like to conform to